New Artist Spotlight Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the New Artist Spotlight Podcast. I am your host, Crxss, joined today by my amazing host, Lisa Haden.
Hi.
And today we have a very special guest, a New Artist Spotlight favorite, a real OG, a real legend, Charles Connolly. How's it going?
Hello. How you doing? You all right?
Doing great. Well, I mean, it's been a long time since we've really spoken, right? For anybody who's new to you, anybody who's just finding you, right? Give us a quick rundown, like who you are, what you do, the type of music you make.
It's a lot to sum up in a couple of lines, but basically I'm an all-round sort of music man. I write songs, produce songs for myself, for other people, in all sorts of styles. It used to be just kind of pop, but alternative pop, but now it's kind of spreading towards anything that I might be interested in, really. But that's pretty much what I do. Music's my whole life, and that's it.
That sounds awesome. So can you tell us your musical journey? So how did you start creating music, and how did that lead into producing songs?
I think the whole thing started from me just adoring music right from the beginning. Just listening to LPs when I was growing up, adoring music, adoring the Beatles. I think eventually I started playing guitar when I was about 9, I think. I started playing drums when I was 9, and then guitar when I was about 11. And it just sort of went from there. And I was writing from about maybe 15, I think. And I was in loads of bands, in and out of all sorts of different bands, funk bands, pop bands, rock bands, playing bass, playing guitar, playing drums. And it just all sort of went from there. And then I got into the production side of it, and then just making more, doing like I do now, doing everything myself as opposed to being in a band and being part of something. I found it a bit easier to do things myself because I had more control over each part. Because when I write songs, I tend to just kind of have the whole thing in mind. Like I know what each part is going to do. So it was easier for me to just do it myself. So I did. That's pretty much it.
So then how did you get so good at it, right? Because a lot of us have gone through the process of, I was just doing it myself. I can't afford to pay anybody, or whatever our reason is. I want to control everything. I want to learn it myself so I know how to, work with somebody else somebody else who's doing the same thing, but they don't necessarily know exactly what I want, right? So how did you go from, let me start trying it and getting everything done myself to, hey, I'm so good at this, I can start doing this for other people professionally and
I see, in that sense. I didn't realize you meant for other people. I mean, for myself, the way I sort of got so good, I think it was literally just doing it. The more you do something, the better you get at it. So as I was just constantly writing and producing songs, I just sort of got better as I went. When it comes to mixing for other people and producing, I mean, it's kind of 50-50 production and mixing at the moment, but it was meant to be just mixing. I think it started by when I started releasing songs in 2020. I was getting all these compliments and comments and things, and it was nice. But a lot of them started saying, I love your mix, or who did your mix, or all that kind of thing. And then I started getting sort of requests to mix theirs. And I thought, well, I don't know if I can do that. I've only ever done my own. And so I gave it a shot. And it went really well. It felt natural. Yeah, and I think a lot of what I do is the very boring stuff, which is to do with the fixing. before I start mixing or adding anything, it's fixing stuff. Because if you've got a vocal that isn't great and then you try and mix it to sound really good, the sound will be good, but it might still be out of tune or out of time or something like that. So that's a lot of what I do, I think. But I think I got good at it by doing it a lot, because that's now what I do. I'm doing it every day. So that's why.
Hats off to you. I've tried producing, and my main song, Women Rise, that was one that I produced myself. And I literally spent hours watching YouTube videos and doing everything the wrong way and messing up. So I'm in awe of you at the moment, because I've tried production and I just find it really, really difficult. Like with anything, I suppose, if you don't know how to go about it and you don't know what buttons to press, it's just almost impossible to do it. It's a massive learning curve. So when it comes to your production and the work that you do with other people, do you literally will you do anyone's who approaches you, or are you selective about whose song will you produce? Do you have to be excited about the song, or do you have to like it personally, or the genre?
No, I don't say, sorry, no, that doesn't answer anything. I don't say no to people if I've been asked, because I do treat it like a job, but I treat the business side of it like a job, but I treat the work like I treat my own music. So I don't go in with a business mind. I do the business side with a business mind, but then I do the art side of it with an artist's mind. One of the reasons I'm not selective is because I want to get as good as I can be at the widest range of styles. So if, for example, I haven't been sent much electronic stuff, and I've got a bit of experience in electronic stuff with some of my own stuff, but not a huge amount, and I'm not going to become great at that until I get more experience in that. And so I just like to push it and widen everything. So I don't like to say no to anyone. I don't really see a reason to. I mean, if I was absolutely inundated and, an extremely successful engineer or producer, then I would probably have to say no just because of time. But apart from that, I don't see why I should say no. It's a bit sort of, no, that's not good enough, or something like that. It's not very me, and it's not very fair. Also, if something's not good enough, it's up to me to make it good enough. So I just see it as a sort of challenge, really,
No, I love that, because I've had songs where, I've gotten to production, I've written the lyrics, I'm like, okay, in my head, I know this is good, this can be good, and then just doing the recording, having all the parts and pieces there, obviously without the mix, and I'm just like, did I mess this up? Is this good enough? I'm like, I don't know. I guess I need to see what it sounds like when it's mixed, and I'll send it out, do a good mix, and it'll come back, and I'm like, yes, this is what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
And so that part that you add, that other person's artistry that is going into it and adding to it, like, it's definitely such a big piece, because it's a part that you may not see as like you're writing it or you're composing it, right? It's like like in theory, on paper, like this could be something great, but you may not have exactly the know-how to make it go from I have these parts and pieces that seem like they should go together to being able to actually make it all one, fluent unit of work that is gonna, really deliver on what you hear in your head, right? So I feel like it's a great thing that you offer with your skill set and being able to do what you do, and for the artists that you've done that for, you've probably given them another level of confidence, thinking that, hey, well, I can't really, my singing voice isn't that great, and then you work on it and you tune their vocals, and now they actually sound, like really professional and really clean. So do you think that it's been like being in an artist spotlight group that is like kind of really giving you the clientele, or do you think like it's been other like ways and avenues in addition to that that's really like allowed you to kind of grow within the mixing and mastering and the production?
Yeah. The new artist spotlight has given me basically my life. It's been absolutely amazing in every way, really. It gave me everything within for my own music of being able to give it to people to actually listen to, as opposed to it just being there and no one knowing of its existence. It gave me all these musicians, artists, friends to chat to and everything about it. It gave me all of their music, and it gave me my job. So it's given me absolutely everything. I do have clients outside of the spotlight, but mainly it's this lot. And being about 1,000 people, there's plenty of work, so it's fine, What I do like is that the community is so varied that it's there's all sorts of different things, So it's varied in terms of style, it's varied in terms of standard or level or everything, which works for me perfectly, It's good.
Yes, there is quite a variety, isn't there, in the new artist spotlight, which I think is absolutely fantastic. I specifically like the different genres that we've got floating around. The playlists are quite mixed, and I like that. Talking about the new artist spotlight, you do your weekly reviews, which I'm very much a fan of, and I've noticed recently in your reviews, it seems like you've sort of grown in respect of what you're listening to personally. So, for instance, you started listening to more classical music and stuff like that. So how has what you listen to and the music that you listen to and review, how has that influenced your direction of music?
It's weird. I was gonna mention the classical thing, actually. Yeah, I didn't know if you'd read that one. But yeah, classical has been huge for me recently, and it's very recently. It's literally just a few months that I've just got into it, and it's very much changed the way I listen to music and the way I sort of perceive music and work it all out. There is one downside, is that the more I listen to, sort of proper music, that I am starting to wane away from pop and simpler music. And that's not putting it down. It is simpler. Pop is simpler than most classical music. Not modern classical. Modern classical, I think, is possibly even simpler than pop music. But I think it will influence me, and I think it already has to an extent, but because I haven't really written anything in the last few months, it's not really coming out, but it is coming out in my production for other people's mixes, where I've been doing a lot of extra strings or horns or something like that. But yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if it's more to do with it influencing my mood than anything else. I've just started doing, which is just a purely personal thing. It's nothing to do with the way I write or work or anything. Like, I've started doing classical music in the mornings and the evenings, and then pop and rock and alternative and all sorts of things during the days. Obviously, there's some work fit into that as well, but
And so you say you haven't, really been, I guess, writing your own stuff for the last few months, but the last huge deal that we're all aware of is, of course, Hands Up. And I listened to that, thought it was great. And just the way that the way that it flowed through, right? And the way that what do you call it? The way that you structured the project to flow together and carry it. So I think you did a really great job there. So talk to us a little bit about the process of creating that and kind of the mood you were in going into that project.
It's a big thing, and it took me, in some ways it took me a long time, in some ways it took me a relatively short time, but it all started in 2017. And in a way, it also kind of finished in 2017 in my mind, in that I wrote all the music and recorded most of the music in about 2 months or something, 2 to 3 months, I think, in early to mid 2017. And then I was meant to be recording all the vocals after, which I ended up doing the following year because I was moving house and the next door neighbor was gutting the place, and I couldn't record anything live. So, but the actual lyrics and the melodies I wrote for the whole album, I wrote in about a week. No, exactly a week, because I took a week off work. I was working in a shop back then, and I took a week off work and I wrote all the words and all the melodies together. And then in 2018, I recorded all of the vocals in 4 days. And then including all the double tracking and the harmonies and everything, it was a packed 4 days. And then I put it all together, mixed it, thought it was good, shelved it. And that was it. It just sat on a hard drive. Then 2020 came, lockdown, and then I thought, right, now's my chance. I'll put out some music. So I wrote some new stuff, put those singles out. That went down well. A few years later, I just thought, this album, I've got to do this album. I've got to, But by that point, my mixing had got a lot better and my production was more complete and more thorough. So I thought, I've got to redo it. It's not good enough. It's not, a lot of people would say, oh, it's more than good enough, which it possibly was, but it wasn't to my level. I need all my stuff to be of the very best I can do. And so I went back to all the individual parts, all the projects. It was actually all done in one project, which was a nightmare because it was about 300 tracks all in one project. So obviously, my computer couldn't handle it. So it would play about half a second before crashing. And it was really, really tedious. And so I split it up into the 14 tracks and then put it together, corrected bits, replaced drums with better drums, redid parts, added horn sections, added strings, added woodwind and extra drums and bass. Actually, not bass. I think I pretty much kept all the bass. And that was it. I didn't redo the vocals. That was as it was those 4 days. And eventually that was it, and just released it.
That's really interesting to hear how you managed to do that. To do all of that in just those short time spans is quite amazing, really, because obviously some people would just spend ages just going through one track and redoing. And I think I'm one of those people where I just keep redoing the same thing, thinking, oh, that's not good enough. I can do better than that. So were any of the songs off this album the songs that you happened to write when you said you started writing when you were 15? So are any of the tracks on that album or anything that we've heard dating back to when you were 15, or is there no young Charles tracks on there?
Well, there's something that a lot of people, most people, almost everyone doesn't realize is this is my first album released, but it's actually kind of my 10th, because my first one, all the others are unreleased. This is all just songs I've done, albums I've done, and that's it. And I started that in 2004, I think, was my first album, the like collection of songs that I put together. And I think each album was about 14 tracks. So yeah, there are about 10 of them. I think this was my 10th, but to everyone else, it's the first. So no, to answer that question, no, they were all brand new, and they were all how I was feeling at the time, and still how I feel now. But so they were all new. That's it. I may release some of the older ones. I've got a lot of songs, but it's all that level thing. I need it to be high, and I just don't know if it is good enough. So I'd have to redo them. A lot of my lyrics weren't that great in the old days. They were fine, but I'm quite proud of my lyrics now, and I don't know if they'd be a bit sort of all right, you know.
I mean, you were, I guess, starting off at 15. You know, obviously you've evolved as a writer, as a composer, in pretty much every aspect, right? So, but I'm sure though, as an artist though, if you still have all those songs on a hard drive somewhere, those 126 songs of previous albums that may never be heard, right? Like you probably still go back, like, yeah, I still love this song though. Like I may or may not ever put it out, but this song, like it's still special to me. I still remember where I was at.
That is exactly it. All those songs, I don't think, because I hear this from artists all the time that, that awful song I made, it's so embarrassing. I don't have that with my stuff. I'm very happy to listen to my older stuff. It's just exactly what you said, that it's a different thing to listen privately to your own stuff and enjoy it, to putting it out for the world to hear. That's a very different thing. I'm also aware of the order that comes, you know, if I were to release something I did in 2008, that for the public comes after Hands Up. But for me, it's an old thing, and I don't like that, because for me, it's a sequence.
That makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. Because, I mean, that way you're almost showing like progression backwards.
Yeah.
I hear that.
Mm-hmm. Imagine it's like the Star Wars movies, isn't it? Going back in time. So we've talked about your production and your music, but how is it that you came to hear about NAS? When did you join, and how did you find out about the community?
I think, because I mean, I've been a member since pretty much the very beginning. I think I was contacted by a 15-year-old, I think he was at the time, called, I think his name was Samuel Desai was his artist name. And he just sent me a message and say, hey, we've got this thing. Do you want to join it? And do you want to do that? And I was just, listen to a playlist of good stuff and stream it the odd time and have your song on it? Yeah, all right, cool. And that's how it started, you know, just a playlist and an Instagram chat. And that was it. And then it all turned into this big thing.
So, Charles, I feel like it's really good talking to you because you're so much an artist, right? And I think even just in like the way you carry yourself and the way you kind of just operate, it's clear that you are an artist. But there is something that I do want to give you the honor of doing, right? We're talking about Hands Up, all right? I'm not sure what song you want to play, but please pick one song, tell us a little bit more about that one particular song, and then give us an introduction so we can check it out.
Sure. The song, it was a bit difficult to choose one song because there's a lot of styles going on in the album, but I thought I'd just do one bang in the middle. A kind of title track, Hands Up, Hands Down, Part 2, which directly follows Part 1 on the album, but it works on its own. It's one of the few that I feel really works as a single on its own. So sort of one of the reasons I picked it. But yeah, what it's about is it's the whole Orwellian 1984 thing of being watched, being told what to do, how to be, and being controlled. And that's kind of what it's all about. And the hands up, hands down thing, it can mean lots of things, but for me, it was meant to be hands up, hands down. In other words, just complete, I will do as you tell me kind of thing, you know. I am not worthy and I will do every, you know. And then the song is being against that. I've just, and it's like, it's sort of what part one is about, but part one is more about terrorists, which I don't think anyone has actually realized. But it's more about terrorists and indoctrination and missing the point and doing bad and being brainwashed by bad people into being bad people when they should be good and should be thinking for themselves. But yeah, anyway, so that was part one. This is part two, and it's hands up, hands down, part two.
You gotta be at, we don't like facial hair. We decided, alien beware. You seemed okay, so we accepted you. We turned to the left, you turned to the right, so now we're watching every move, every step, every bite, every drink, every touch, every breath, every mug, every move, every key, every chain, every thought, every thought, every man, every text, every call. Hands up. Hands down, yeah. Hands up. Hands down, yeah. We'll do to you what we did to them. We decided you're the next of kin. You crossed the line one too many times. You think we don't know, but we do, cause we've been watching every tick, every song, every clip, every knock, every look, every bang, every lock, every push, every switch, every pull, every stitch, every word, every bird, every bitch. Hands up. Hands down, yeah. Hands up. Hands down, yeah. Get away, break the chain from my neck. Hold the cross, hold it close to you. Get away, for I find the biggest stake. I'm driving in your heart. Stay away, get into the open ground. Right below the earth, I pat it down. In the end, I'm all that is left alone. I feel as though I never will forget.
So that was Hands Up, Hands Down Part 2 by Charles Connolly. Go and stream it along with the rest of the album. It's fantastic. Now I think it's time for my favourite part of the show. Is that right? The quickfire?
You're running the show.
No? So do you want to explain the rules?
Yes. New Artist Spotlight Quickfire 5. It's not that many rules. It's very simple. You only get 15 seconds to answer each question. It's only going to be 5 questions. And if you fail, you're banished from Earth. All of your music has to come down from streaming services. And you are condemned to a life of creating music that no one will ever hear.
So being just an average unsigned artist, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. You may never succeed.
Are you ready?
Oh, go on.
Okay, question 1. What is your favourite song from the NAS playlist?
Well, is that right now, or is that just in general?
Right
Should we
now.
go?
Right,
Yeah.
right now, I would say it's probably Mac 1 by Brian Cooper. Although all day today I've had Let Go by Patrick Arms stuck in my head.
Okay. Question 2 then. And you've been around for a very long time. If you could spend a day with any NAS artist throughout its entirety, who would you pick?
Extremely difficult. Also, I'm assuming I can't pick someone I've already met or spend a day with. I would probably say Brian Cooper, actually. Part of that is part of the reason is because it feels almost impossible because he lives in Japan, but he's just such a top bloke, and I think we'd get on extremely well and probably be laughing constantly.
Good choice. Okay, question 3. What is your guilty pleasure song, the cheesy song that you hate to admit that you love?
Not from the NAS,
No,
just in general.
No, just in general.
It's probably Sunshine, Lollipops and Rainbows. I can't remember who it's by. You must know the song, though. You're going to make me sing it, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sunshine, lollipops and rainbows everywhere. That's going to be the thing I'm remembered for now. Oh, dear. What have I done? Leslie Gore? It might be Leslie Gore. Something like... Anyway, it's as cheesy as it gets, but I have a soft spot for it.
All right, we had to take a quick break to get a live performance from Charles. He never does that. Question 4, then, what, if you could choose, would you be remembered for?
Oh. Would be remembered for... My beard? No. Writing really, really good songs. As simple as that. That's it. Because I think that's the thing I do best out of all the things I do. And that's it. Literally that.
Okay, last and final question. What experience or award, something like that, would make you actually say, yes, I've made it as an artist in the music industry. I'm famous.
Grammy, without a doubt. A Grammy for best album. There you go. And a second runner-up would be one that I'm not sure if it's known it's sort of worldwide, but the Ivor Novello Award, which is the Songwriters Award. That would be the ultimate, absolute. I can die happy now. That would be it.
Well,
Have you got one? Am I going to receive one or no?
But we can sketch one for you. It won't mean much.
I thought that was a secret sort of surprise. We've got you, but no. Fine.
not going to happen this time.
No.
Well, it depends. Sorry, my voice. We'll see how long it took you to answer some of those questions. There's a couple of them that were a little iffy on 15 seconds. So if you did indeed make it for all of those questions, we may have to get you an award. If not, sorry, you deemed yourself banished from ever achieving that. So,
But you do receive the award for the best live performance this season.
Yeah. Thank you.
So
You'll have everyone singing that now.
yeah, it's a bit of an earworm. It'll get stuck in there, right? Especially with Charles's vocals.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So
And the jazz hands.
Oh yeah. Dude, you sure you don't perform live? It seems like you have everything you need.
No, my hands do, but I don't.
Okay. All right, we're gonna have to work on that, Yeah. So I do want to give you a chance. Is there anything that you, that's personal to you, that you want to share with the community? Any words, any causes, anything that's just on your mind that you want people to know, people to understand about you or about anything?
I mean, I'm not really much of a sort of causes good person kind of thing, but no, I'll just be selfish about it. Listen to my album in full from beginning to end, because that's the way it was meant to be done, meant to be listened to. But most importantly, when it comes to my work and what I do, I really think that most people would benefit from me working on their stuff in some regard. And yeah, I welcome messages from people. I've also given a lot of advice to people as well, completely free. Just, sometimes they tip me a tenner or something, but it's just, my goal is to make music better. And that's it. That's all I really want.
Fantastic. So where can we stalk you? Like, are you on social media?
You can stalk me anywhere you want. Yeah, absolutely fine.
Binoculars.
I'm easy, Yeah, that's fine. I wondered if that was you actually over there.
Yeah, bring out a cuppa.
Yeah. On all socials, it's Connolly Tunes, which is easy to remember how it sounds, but not easy to remember how it's spelt. So it's CONNOLLY Tunes on, I think, everything. Yeah, that's it. It's as simple as that. And I always look at everything and I check things horribly. I religiously check things. It drives me mad. Notifications, messages, the lot. So yeah. Send me a message anywhere and I'll get back to you.
It does sound like you are a person existing in 2025.
I know.
Well, all right. It was a really good chat. Enjoyed talking to you. You're always a really good conversation. Like I said, you just come through as an artist. There's still stuff I want to ask. Like there was some stuff in the album that felt kind of Motown, but we might have to save that for maybe another chat in the future.
Sure.
But for our listeners, our viewers, the people that are supporting and pushing this community, right, that's helping us reach new people every week, every day. We just want to send a big shout out, a big thank you to all of you guys for all that you do to help us and keep us going.
Thank you. Yes.
Charles, thank you again for your time this morning.
Thank you.
All right.
Lovely to speak to you.
Peace out, everybody.
Bye.
New artist spotlight.